Greetings everyone, this is War in the Pacific Advanced Edition. This is Lodrik out of China, Hefei, and today we will check the play by email match against Jochen. Jochen, allied player for me, the Empire of Japan. And today we are checking the 13th January 1942. The last turns was not so active, let's say this. Not much entertainment, maybe. The only really big news was that my H6 long-range bombers found one of Jochen's APs in Port Moresby and striking with 3 torpedoes. So maybe today we will hear some sinking sound. We will see, or we will hear. But nothing really else happened. So I took over the base without a fight. More submarines around Rabaul. And submarines near Ominato. But my always on-duty patrol boats, of course, intercept the submarine and force it to dive. And nothing really happens. But yes, Jochen is very aggressive, keep his submarines everywhere near the coast. But there's no gap in my patrol. Every submarine will be forced to dive and cannot attack. So second bombardment, this time in the night. Most of the time I have the feeling that night bombardment is of course not so accurate, so less damage, but this is in both directions, so I hit less the target, and the coast battery have often less success to hit my ships. Still, I normally prefer day bombardment, but there's so far I know there's a command missing. You cannot tell a task force to make a night bombardment or a day bombardment. That the task force is waiting for the right moment to attack. You must always calculate the distance and be a little lucky. So here, much less damage than last turn, so everything is very soft and small. Naja. Okay, now we had a sinking sound. This is the AP, and at the same time one of my submarines find a Europa tanker. This is a big cargo ship, and this is a cargo ship full of fuel. So double lucky. Not only a shitty tanker, no, this is now a little revanche, but still this is not the super big tankers like I lost. But this is something. And of course, too late, too little, trying to find here my submarine. So this is at the very edge of the map. I don't know exactly where we are. Ah, here. Okay. This is near the coast of America. Okay, somehow here is a tanker unit. So I repositioned my submarines and maybe I was able to find something after so many turns and 2 torpedoes, and of course if this tanker is full then it will burn. And yeah, looks like we get a second sinking sound. So 1 AP down, 1 tanker down, a good start for the day. And now it's Jochen's turn, and Jochen's submarines of course failing. I mean, nothing really new here. Mark 14s and not very skillful skippers maybe. So unloading, I took this, or yeah, I sent some support units to this base. I want to take this base before I attack and take the main base, so that the Dutch forces will not simply jump back to this base and then jump back to this base. So if I defeat them now, they will normally surrender, or at least running to the jungle, not to a base. And again here, I saw that Jochen tried to save his American forces, bring him to the other base, so I now make invasion at this base and try to cut them their retreat line and also take over the complete island. But there's normally really nothing for me to take. Only make sure there's no forces left, and that all the bases under Japanese control. So we had at least at the night some activity. Unloading. And of course this destroyer minesweeper, they are small second class, third class destroyers. They have really no firepower. They are really only good for anti-submarine and anti-mine and nothing else. Okay, we have mines in Miri. Luckily, I have, of course, in every port, this is normal, I mean, every port you really will use, you must have a minesweeper to make sure there are no mines. And you need normally also active laying mines on your own bases to make sure that no one can enter a port without the risk of losing heavy equipment. Scout planes, everywhere scouts. Jochen always scouts so many of my bases, I don't like it. Sooner or later I must get rid of them. And again, I try something, I thought maybe Jochen will come out. I sweep over Changsha, nothing happens. Jochen simply don't want fight here more. Maybe his morale is broken. Or he won't fight another day. Also, Port Moresby, after my torpedo strike, I was maybe hoping that Jochen try to have some honor, but no. He avoiding every confrontation. He maybe will lose something. He plays this very safe now. I don't know if he will change more and more to be like dojo style. Not so sure. Because if Jochen don't want fight, then I must bring the fight to him. Some small damage here. But at the end, really no. After active night, everything falls back to a soft turn. So these are maybe the Catalinas out of Rabul. I maybe have to do something against this and suppress this air activity in this region. But the bad weather is not with me. Well, the bad weather is against me. So, and I also sweep the Xi'an, but even here is nothing. So really nowhere is anything. And because Jochen don't want to come out, maybe attack a little the airport, but I don't have really heavy bomber units in China. I use them mainly to suppress enemy movement. I can damage here some fighters on the ground and damage the airport, at least a little. And this will burn supplies. Here I have more. I mean, the Ki-21, they can carry 1 ton of bombs or 1,000 kilograms, so this is really the maximum capacity I have here in China. Normally I have no better bomber than the Ki-21. I only have not the numbers. So I use always this outdated one engine bomber, light bombers. They carry 250 kilogram bomb if I'm lucky. This is not really enough. So 1 bomb each bomber, so even if I come with high numbers, this is simply not enough drop load. Yeah, it is. So, again, nothing. Maybe any land move? I'm not so sure. Looks... no. So no land battle today. Like yesterday, more or less. Okay, I mean, yesterday I killed a AP, today I killed a tanker. My air force can operate in China. Jochen, don't try to bomb me more. And my navy forces are still under repair and reorganization. I think I need maybe 1 or 2 more days, then I can form up the next task forces and maybe strike again. So here we are. Air losses, I don't know, nearly nothing happened. I lost my standard. Simply this is burning the air war in China. There's always some accident by landing, takeoff, whatever. It's Ki-30 and Ki-36 are both light bombers, doesn't matter. A Ki-48 is a medium bomber, but it's more like a high-speed bomber with less drop load. So I don't really like them too much and I don't produce them. But at the end, 4 engines, 4 points for Jochen. Ship sunk. Official, I hear... okay, official, the tanker is dead and I hear it sinking, but the AP sunk before, but I get no more information for this. So the Commonwealth's 28 points, so very similar to the tankers I lost. I think my tankers was only faster, but it's very, very similar. So it's a good hit, and especially because it was full. So it is a tanker from America going to wherever it was, maybe Pearl Harbor or maybe Australia, I don't know. Not so bad. After so many days, we had some activity. Yeah, but I don't know if I can really show much more. So the problem is I move here my submarines around, but somewhere here the submarines was more or less bypassing these task forces, or the task force bypassed my submarine, let's say this, and a lucky hit. Sometimes we need luck. Here in, because it was one of the last activity I just saw, is that my cruiser formation was again detected, now a full detection. So maybe Port Blair or here in Sebang, Jochen have a lot of air assets to find my location always, so I must get rid of it. This is the reason why I unload here units. This is more or less only a unit takes a base. Once I have the base, I can unload without losing equipment. This is why I normally bring in first a light unit. A light unit have not a high chance to lose too much. Is the base I can bring more equipment. So I always scout a base. If there's nothing, I don't must bring any heavy equipment. If it's an empty base, I only send this minimum. It's a third of a unit, let's say, the smallest units. The smallest possible army force I can have to make an invasion. And there are also Navy Guard units, they have already a low tendency to lose equipment. You can see I only lose here one squad. This is normally nothing. I can maybe check how many I have in backup. Industry, resources, squads. Im Pool Militia, Vietnam Militia, Japanese Infantry Squad, this is the normal army, the paratroops, Chinese Infantry, Heavy Infantry, Mongolian Vichy units. So I don't know why, but we have Vichy heavy machine guns and Vichy infantry guns. But you can see they are not coming online, so maybe this is for a special scenario. I don't know why they're here, or they never use it. Hard to say. Local militia, Chinese maybe machine guns, Thai forces. Here SNLF. I have no more in pool, and I used so far 455. And last turn I make 167. Because I think there are new units coming. Ground reinforcements. I think I get ground reinforcements just now. This is the reason why there are so many. Let me check. Yeah. These are new units, they just arrived this turn, and I think there are more. And of course they have a 48 plus 48, and I think this is why the pool is just empty. I produce, I think the number, I don't know exactly, but if you need force, or I get you force units in the game, produce them or takes them out of the pool if you already produce them before. But anyway, this is only very small cheap stuff. So what else? In Xi'an is no moving now. I mean, there is no activity. I bring here some from the 11th division. It's normally the C company of a division. This was, I think, lost somewhere, and I found it. And normally I won't bring it here to form up with the A and B unit, but then I realized, maybe I can also do something else. I can bring it to this base, and then I walk down here the street and get rid of this forces, because this force in my back is always a threat. The force can normally go here and cut my supply line, so I can go here, kick it, and then I walk here up. But this is normally not a big entertainment, so only happened. And in the source, here's some moving, so I move my tank forces here. And combat speed, so that I'm not too fast, because this is only a small scout regiment. Recon platoon, how do you call it? Recon armored car, armored unit. So it's only tankletten, so only machine gun tanks, Panzer 1. So Jochen come out and he maybe empties his base because I only see now 1 unit left, and he split up his forces, so we will see if he can push here, but I also move here up my backup unit, so this is a mixed brigade, and I can normally try to fall behind him, and then I cut his line of supply, so and this is all heavy mountain, so you need always a lot of more firepower to really defeat the enemy. And because we have no air activity here, there's not more much to say in China, only that I try to optimize still, of course, everything, so I move here this Navy Guard unit, but they belonging to the China area, so I must buy them out, and it's too expensive. To buy them out cost me 240 points. It's crazy expensive for this little attack value. So I keep them in China. But they have an attack value of 70, so I bring them to Wenchao, because Wenchao asked for 80. If I bring a 70 inside, then it's a little less than 90%, but it will be normally enough to keep this garrison happy. And the most important is then I can get this 125 unit out, and this belongs to the 13th Army, and it's belonging to an overall. But the problem is this is 800 days. But I give more or less 70 attack value to Wenchao, and I get the 125 out. And this 125 I can maybe bring to Shanghai, because in Shanghai I have this kind of forces. They have much better equipment and better experience, and they have a similar attack value, so I bring a more shitty unit to Shanghai and can take a better one out. And at the end, I will have better units at the front line and the more basic units making garrison. Yeah. And in Manchukuo, I have still this very good stuff, but I have simply no choice. I also can bring all this shitty stuff normally to Manchukuo, because in Manchukuo I have still high value equipment similar to this. If I can bring a whole division out of this, experience, morale, good equipment, and they are divisions, so they have more punching power. Is there also some only parts of a division, but there's always some stuff you can find here is not so bad. Is 70 experience. Nice equipment, full of stuff. And I think this is one of the best. This is normally the best. This is the 6th Army. So if it's the German 6th Army or the Japanese 6th Army, it's always something like elite unit. And to get a division out of on 480 attack value is crazy high. But this is management, and this is normally what a Japanese player really must do. He must try to manage this garrison stuff, and also not only check the numbers, also keep in mind what kind of quality the numbers is, in trying to bring shitty quality back to Manchukuo and bring good quality out of Manchukuo to at the end boost the fighting capacity in China, because the Chinese army gets normally every day the Chinese army gets stronger. So they're similar to the war against the British and the Americans. The first 3-4 months the Japanese are the strongest, but later in summer of 42, if you are not in a position of already winning the war, it will get hard in the future. Always keep and remind the war. You can check the game TRG against XTRG. XTRG try a lot in China, but I think he not really makes the important battles, and more or less was not able to achieve something war breaking, or to secure the victory in the really important bases in China. But again, you can still learn out of this. Even if the war was not successful, you learn stuff like what better not to do, or how you can try do it, but maybe it was not successful, but maybe with a little tweak you can make it successful in the future. You can see that here in Malaya, I think it's more or less the same, but I still see that units walking west, units walking here northeast and also southeast. So most important is normally only that I keep here this the west line open, then I have the highway, and then I control the railway. This railway I don't really care. I also want to take the base. Once I take the base, there's no supplies left for the British. So yeah. Here I take this base, and I can attack this base next turn, so I can clean up this pocket. I prepare already here some forces to... Oops, not here. I have here my Navy Guard units. This is... I don't know how much attack value this is, but I think it's like 3 times 40 or 3 times... I think they are together maybe 150 attack value. Is this maybe enough to clean up this Dutch forces? If I find that there's too much, I don't see here really heavy. These are all Dutch units. They are the weakest out of all. Even weaker than Chinese, I have this feeling. Here in Miri, some mines plopping up, and it's hard to see, but these are not my mines. They are not this pinky red. They are brown. I think they're Dutch mines. Can be British mines, I'm not so sure. But they are enemy mines, and we are sweeping them already. So I think they are soon over. You can see also that I have a lot of supplies and fuel in Singapore. In the dojo game, I was not able to bring so much so fast to Singapore, and everything was more slow. So I still rebuild here my forces and train here also a lot of sub hunters because subs are the most dangerous stuff maybe. What else I can say here? Yeah. You can also see that here I reform my units. I think I talked about this. So this is normally the main unit have normally 81. I break it in 3 times 27. And then I can use this 27s to operate on land or operate on the carrier. You cannot do this with everything, but if a unit is like this, have a fixed change, you cannot do reforming, but else you can. And I really, if it's open, I will always change it to 81. Then I can always break it in 3 units. Then I have always 3 times 27. And then I can still use only 1 out of these 3 units for active duty, because the rest I don't have airframes. You can see I'm completely empty of 0 airframes. But in the long run, it gives me more flexibility. I only need time to fill this many airframes. I have now many empty airframes, more or less. Yeah. But I produce between 3 and 4 zeros per day, so if I get enough time, I can normally do it in 1 or 2 months, maybe 3 months, and then I think I'm full with my air force. So anything else? Jochen do nothing. Of course, maybe he's still busy with shifting stuff around. I lost here a little track of the submarines. Maybe he calls them back. Around Rabaul, there's nothing. I find also no ship more in Port Moresby. Maybe the one ship is... the AP is dead. And the rest maybe he moved out. So maybe Port Moresby is now empty. Who knows? I have here still high detection. And I can also see that here 25,000 soldiers, 200 guns, 100 tanks. So 100 tanks sounds a little high for me. And you can see here I have similar numbers. So if this is similar, then Jochen must have roughly at least 500 to 600 attack value. And 100 tanks is, I would say, high. I don't know. I have only 40 vehicles. I mean, vehicles can be also trucks, and the Allies have for sure much more trucks. So it can also be that these are motorized infantry or something like this. Yeah, this is my special operation, shifting and strengthening the air force here out in the ocean. What else? What else? Maybe Hong Kong, a short look again. I have now here 4 battleships ready. These are my battle cruisers normally. I say, I don't know, the game calls them battleships, I say call them battle cruisers. So they are all repaired and well, I will bring them now to Singapore, and once from Singapore I can maybe make the first bigger India Ocean raid, but it will not work so long Jochen have here this scout position. So at least I must get rid of Sebang. If I have Sebang, I sit, I don't know more, from Sebang to Port Moresby, it's 12 hours. This is still in range, so maybe I take this base and then I shell Port Moresby with my battle cruisers. And once I did this, I think both of these bases cannot operate more. Safety, any float planes. And if this happens, I can really bring in everything I want in the Indian Ocean. And then I can try to bring some terror to the British supply lines around Ceylon. Yo, anything else? Anything else? Anything else? My supply situation in Japan is stable now. I think I'm now on the lowest point. Because I am done with industry upgrades. Heavy industry. Size. Oh, here's Andy. This must be out. So you can see that most of the bases don't upgrade more. There are still some, but not many left. So I will not invest here too much resources in this kind of stuff. I will then focus of refineries and oil. This I must try to get the maximum out. But I don't have really too much to repair. It's mainly only Miri. Miri need, the rest is all done. And for the oil, it is also Miri and Brunei, but this is all small stuff. The most supplies I will maybe still burn in with engines. Every factory consume 1000 supplies per day, so still if I don't upgrade any other stuff, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, at least 9000 supplies for this. Plus Miri, so we are 11,000 supplies per turn. And I have here also 11, this means 2 more, so 12, 13, 14. But the zeros are, if the Oscars are done, then they are done. So, but this 2 maybe I will go up to 60 maybe. 60 I think is the maximum. 60 means 2 dive bombers and 2 torpedo bombers per day. I think this is the first enough. This is always supplies, and supplies you can never have enough. And you always are short of supplies in Japan. And I really feel a little dry. So I push everything what was possible with heavy industry for 1 month, and then I stop it completely. And now I only will invest in engines, airframes, and building of infrastructure, and consuming the supplies for Air Force and Navy. Thank you all. See you. Take care. Bye bye.